This, the new Rapide SL sleeping pad, and this, the new Lost Ranger the new Big Agnes Lost Ranger UL sleeping setup 3-in-1 system. I was hoping it'd be a little more dramatic than that. Could this be the new best, most amazing sleep system, sleep setup for the backcountry? Maybe. Let's check it out. Battery's dying.
Dang.
Might be a while. All right, full disclaimer, this is not a review. I'm just gonna go over the specs. I'm gonna go over the features of this and kind of tell you what it does and give you my thoughts on it, because I've never used this before. Now, before you click off this video, because I got a feeling some of you keyboard warrior weirdos are about to click off on the video because I've never used this before. I've had this for about 6 months now. I've talked to many people who have used it, so I can give you some insight and overview. I've laid around in it, and I plan on using it actually in an upcoming video at the end of July. I'm headed to Boulder Mountain in Utah, and I just want to talk about it now because I think it's actually a pretty cool system. And what I know about Big Agnes so far is that everything that they've put out for sleep systems has been pretty good and pretty accurate so far, and everything I'm hearing, this thing is pretty positive. So let's just walk through it and just kind of see what you think as well. If you think this thing would be pretty awesome too. I should say though, I have used this. This is, and I did a whole video on sleeping pads recently where this ended up being one of 2 of probably my favorite sleeping pads ever. So this thing is killer, amazing. We'll get into this in a minute. But this is the 3-in-1 system, sleep system from Big Agnes. And I think the idea behind this sleep system is really to make it almost like they're trying to bring your bed that you use at home into the outdoors. Like, how could we possibly make the sleeping at our house that we're all used to, obviously, and comfortable in, how can we bring that outside in the lightest weight, most effective way possible, still be packable, still be warm enough, all that stuff. So this is a 3-in-1 system, and what that means is they give you a sleeping bag, and they give you this, which is pretty much a backpacking quilt for the most part. And then they combine them too. So you can use this on its own, you can use this on its own, and then together it makes the 3rd system. All right, let me just show you how this attaches. It's got like a sheet that is attached to the bottom of it, and it's zipped on one side so you can get in and out of it easily. But let's walk through how it's actually attached real quick. So essentially all you're gonna do is lay this out and then take these straps here around each corner. Like that. Then you can do the same with the back end. There you go. That's pretty much it. Now it's on there. It unzips here, so you can now get in it. You got like this sheet, and you would think, well, why don't they just give you a quilt? Well, I think the idea is, so it sort of feels like you got a sheet. This is a ripstop nylon, and so it does have similar waterproofing that other ripstop nylon would have. Probably not as much because it's a sheet on a mattress for your tent, but it's going to have some water resistance to it. But then when you zip it up, it does at least keep that quilt from coming up. I'll you know, obviously there's not insulation here, but we'll talk about that in a second because there's other insulation in this whole setup that's going to be pretty awesome. Oh, also, I've had this for probably 6 months. I just haven't used it because I got a list of like a mile long of other stuff that I'm trying to test out while I'm on trips. And this is finally gonna make it on that list coming up here. But when they sent this to me, this was the Lost Ranger UL 3-in-1 20-degree setup. It's now a 15-degree setup. So I think they must have just retested it and realized that it's probably warmer than they had originally thought. So when you go to the website, there's not a 20-degree version. There's a 15-degree version and a 0-degree version. And then there's also a camp version, like a heavier version. So it's like a navy blue version of this. So there's the Lost Ranger. This is the Lost Ranger UL. So this is the lightweight version. And then they make a women's version, which really just kind of adjusts the taper of it to better fit what women would sleep like. And I believe that's called the Roxanne. This one is filled with 850 filled down. The camp version is, I think, 600 or 650 filled down. Emmett's gonna put all this stuff on the screen, right, Emmett?
I sure will.
He sure will. Now this is a separate sleeping bag that comes with this whole setup. And this is designed after one of their other sleeping bags that is actually also pretty new within the past year, which is their Sidewinder sleeping bag. So this sort of has that side sleeper setup, but you don't have to sleep in it, you know, as a side sleeper at all. But you could use this individually out on trail for those summer nights, or you could use this individually out on trail, or combined you can use it. So this would essentially go inside of the quilt, and now you've got all that extra insulation. All right, now the big concern for me is if you hold it up to the light, you can see that it's stitched, and it's not like one of those stitchings where there's a piece of material in there so that there's going to be insulation all the way through. It's not. So you can see that the insulation is only going to be on the baffle, and I'm pretty sure it's the same way with this bag as well. Yep. So the bag is the same way, but Big Agnes says that the way that they're spaced out as far as the baffles go, when they're combined, they should sort of be alternate, and you should not have an issue. In other words, like the seams won't line up, so they'll be, you know, opposite essentially. So you should always have insulation all the way across when you're using them together. But I mean, I guess if you're using it individually, you're gonna feel cold spots. Maybe, I don't know. The zippers on this are pretty good, actually. They've got this no, you know, catch zipper pull that shouldn't catch. However, it does, like right there, every once in a while catch, but you know, it's a good effort. Better than most on the market. But then it's also got a second zipper down here, which does not have that on it. So it's kind of a pain to, see if we can even get this unzipped. There we go. And that way you can ventilate like your feet at night if you're really, really hot. Yeah, this one has a second zipper as well. So if you want to stick your feet out of this and then stick your feet out of this to ventilate, you know, if you're really, really hot or whatever, you could totally do that. So my big question is this whole thing even like a gimmick, since I've never slept in it? Thing that makes me question that really is they're trying to make this like your bed at home, right? But I don't sleep with a sleeping bag at home in my bed. So am I still gonna feel like I'm just in a sleeping bag overall? I don't know, I'll find out and report on that, but that is a concern I have for sure. But I will say that if it were me and I was Big Agnes, if I was working for Big Agnes in the sales department, I would probably sell just this quilt on its own, because people probably have summer sleeping bags already at home. And you could just use this quilt and use your own sleeping bag in it. So I get why they're trying to do it, though. They're, you know, selling it as a 3-in-1 system. Who knows, maybe it's just easier to do it that way. But you could certainly change out how you sleep in this. Now, what I've noticed, though, is that combined, let's see, 50 degrees, 35 degrees. So this is gonna bring probably, that's now 15 degrees. So we're talking, this thing adds about 20 degrees warmth to whatever sleeping setup you have inside of it, I think. I'm not a scientist by any means, but if I had to guess, I would say probably this will add 15 to 20 degrees to any setup. So that's kind of nice to know, right? Like if you had maybe a 20-degree bag, could you get it down to 0 with this? Possibly. According to their website, they do have a 0-degree version as well. And the 0-degree version is a 45-degree outer bag and a 20-degree inner bag, and combined it makes 0 degrees. If I were to buy this again, I might just buy the 0-degree setup, really, because I rarely use a summer bag because I hate backpacking in the summer. So I like my sit-ups? I like my setups to be already warmer for like those fringe seasons anyway. And it's just nice to have that 0-degree bag. Now, these are super expensive out the gate. Like this one I think is like $500, and the 0-degree setup adding like another $150, so it's like $650. But you've got all of your setups for the entire year. You've got that summer setup, you've got that sort of fringe temperature setup, and then combined you've got a really warm setup. And that way you're not having to buy 2-3 different sleeping bags that could otherwise cost all that much together. And then collectively, they're supposed to make a really comfortable sleeping experience. So where just a sleeping bag that would be 20 degrees or 15 degrees for your winter warmer setup may not be as comfortable as this all together. So I think that's part of the value that you're paying for that $650 or $500 as well. So you could sort of think of it that way. But then what's also really cool about this is that there's this spot in here, they call it the pillow barn. Honest to God, that just sounds so disgusting. That makes me think I'm gonna smell farm animals the entire time I'm sleeping.
You don't know anything about farm animals. No. You're talking to the...
Hey, he grew up on a farm, by the way, Emmett, so he knows everything about that kind of smell. He might like this. Stuff, yeah. He might like this. Okay, so this pillow goes into the pillow barn. I'm gonna call it a pillow holder because I just feel weird calling it a pillow barn. Big Agnes, change the names of your stuff. That's just too weird. Goes there, and that just holds it in place because the bane of someone's existence is sometimes when this pillow slips around, especially on really slick ripstop nylon like this, or even on a sleeping pad. Pillows always slip around on me. So this is kind of nice. So if you like to have a pillow like this, that's great. There's also one other feature on these bags. They've got this sort of curve here. And this is so like when you're sleeping, you can stick your hand in there and keep it warm. It acts like that, acts like a hand barn. It's a hand barn.
Everything's a barn now.
It's a barn for your hand.
Shut up, it's my foot barn.
I got a head barn. I'm wearing it. You like my head barn?
It's okay, I guess.
And then it just connects under here with this cinch system. You can tighten it, you can loosen it here to fit different size pads. This, according to Big Agnes, will fit up to a 30-inch wide pad, all the way down to a 20-inch wide pad, and also different length pads up to, I think, a 78-inch pad lengthwise. So if you've already got a sleeping pad, you don't need one of their sleeping pads, you can certainly do that. Is that going to affect the warmth of this whole system? Whatever sleeping pad you're using, absolutely. Your sleeping pad is like half of the warmth of your sleep system, so keep that in mind as well. But the sleeping pad that I'm using, which I told you about in the beginning of the video that I told you I would talk about, is this here. This is the Rapide SL from Big Agnes. I had it set up upside down the whole time. It should have been like, will that affect your sleep? No, it won't. It'll just look better if the labels, nobody's gonna care. Okay, so this is the Big Agnes Rapide SL insulated sleeping pad. I think this is a 4.5 R value sleeping pad. If I'm wrong, Emmett, will you put that on the screen?
Of course I will.
Yeah, of course he will. Look at the loft on that. Look how thick that is. This is why I love this pad. It's just such a great pad. This is like a pretty much a 4-season pad at the R value that it is. So that's why I brought it out with this system to kind of show like this could possibly be the most epic sleep system ever. And then this is certainly the most comfortable sleeping pad I've ever slept on. This and also the Q-Core SLX from Big Agnes, which is their green sleeping pad. They're essentially the same sleeping pad. One's just insulated a little bit more. It's got this Prima loft on the inside, which is kind of their insulation that they're using. Kind of their insulation. It is their insulation that they're using. It's the insulation that they're using on the inside of the pad to keep it warm like that. But it also kind of bows up a little bit here on the side and here. I like that. I didn't think I would like that, but I do like that because you don't feel it when you're sleeping, like it's not bothersome, but it sort of makes the pad feel bigger than it is because it kind of holds you up as you're rolling. So, and also, this is a wide sleeping pad. This one is 25 inches wide and it's 78 inches long. So your feet, if you're tall like me, I'm 6'2", my feet won't fall off the end of the pad. So this really is like a mattress like I'd have at my house, as best you can get anyway in the backcountry. I'm not hauling my mattress out there. I don't think I want to do that, but you can.
If he did, he'd make me carry it.
Yeah, exactly. So this combined with like a sheet, combined with a sleeping bag, combined with a quilt, combined with a pillow barn. This could be the best sleep system ever. Will it be? I don't know. I'll find out in 2 weeks, Boulder Mountain in Utah, and I'll definitely report on my thoughts on this whole setup when I get back from that for sure. If you guys like this video, hope you do. Hit that like button, also subscribe for more. Also hit the bell notification so I can send you a video every single time it's released. And I will see you on the next one.
Time to hit the editing barn.
Yeah, you better get to your barn and edit.